All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of In the Building, the podcast. Man, we got an incredible episode this time around, huh, Rasta?
Man, today in the building, our very first guest, we are blessed to have a very successful businessman, producer, manager. He worked with some of the world-renowned jazz, some of the best jazz artists in the world, and also helped us with the origins of the best in the West. When the East Coast would dominate the hip-hop industry, he helped give us our sound, our feeling, man. You know what I'm saying? From World Class Record Crew to Eazy-E NWA. Yes, NWA, all of them. Ice Cube, Ran, Yella, Dr. Dre, JJ Fad, Michell'le, DOC. We're going to talk about all that. You know what I'm saying? And he helped bring Tupac to us in the world and introduce him to Digital Underground. And we are blessed and honored to have, and we're grateful to have Mr. Atron Gregory in the building today.
Yeah, so, man, we're blessed enough through Mike Pearson, our legal analyst, to get Atron here on the show. And it's funny because we have worked together in the past before, and I wanted to tell you about that, but I wanted it to be a surprise. And so we'll hold that for a little bit later on in the podcast. But yeah, guys, Atron Gregory is here. I mean, we're talking JJ Fad, but even before JJ Fad, we're talking about Rodney Franklin, Stanley Clark, Gary Taylor, the
you went deep,
jazz.
huh?
Man, come on, man. Yeah, I think you'll be a bit surprised, pleasantly surprised that we found out a lot about you, man, and we want to find out a lot more, and that's why we have you here, because I don't think the Bay Area knows like how much of an influence you are on the scene, and honestly, it might have not happened. And I'll tell you why I think that, because you were in a whole different realm of things. But yeah, folks, we have Atron Gregory here live in the building. Just do a little introduction like you would do for yourself for us.
Well, first of all, you guys, thank you for letting me be in the building. And,
yes, sir.
You know, this is actually the first podcast I've done. I was sitting here and I didn't really realize that this was the first podcast that I've done. I've done a lot of documentary interviews, book interviews, but I've never done a podcast. So this is virgin territory for me, as they say.
Hey, man, we're ready to crack it open.
You guys introduced me, you know, pretty well. I grew up in the Bay Area, and I was thinking the other day, the first concert I went to was a Motown concert, probably 8-9 years old. My brother is a guitar player, and so the band that he worked with the Natural Four and the Fabulous Ballads. So that goes way back. You know, most people don't even know that, but they were Bay Area legends, and they had a couple hit records and traveled around the country. But every time the Motown tours came to the Bay Area, they would open. So I would, as a little kid, my brother would take me, and I'd literally stand directly in front of the stage and watch the Temptations and Gladys and a host of other artists.
So this is at like 8 years old, you're saying?
Yeah, 8-9 years old.
So
I was just thinking about that the other day. And
I've
never shared that because, I forgot.
Right. No, it happens, man. I'm sure you lived a storied career, and it's moving fast, and like
that could have been the epiphany.
Everything.
That could have been that epiphany
that has
put you in music.
That was it. You were Motown, and then from there it was like, the sky's the limit, and that's what we want to know. Is like, so as a kid, 8-9 years old, you got a taste of Motown. Now you're hooked.
But I didn't know I was hooked, but I guess I was.
It just slowly, it was gripping you slowly without knowing. Yeah. That's good. So 8-9 years old, did the music make you want to be a musician, or?
Well, I've tried a bunch of instruments, and I don't talk about it too much. I mean, I've tried the violin, the saxophone, the piano, but it takes a lot of discipline to be a musician. It takes a lot of discipline to do anything. So you have to, at some point, find where your space is, where you have the discipline to do that work. I didn't have the discipline to sit and practice piano 4 or 5 hours a day, or violin or saxophone, or I think I even tried flute.
I mean, I've heard learning an instrument, you just have to immerse yourself in like that instrument. Yeah. And yeah, it's equivalent to like a skateboarder. Skateboarder, you want to do the coolest tricks,
Mm-hmm.
You better be out there falling and breaking your arm, or like getting the blisters from playing the guitar and stuff. So your brother played instrument. You see, you're older or your younger brother?
My older brother.
Okay,
and he still plays guitar. So I actually credit him for my entree into the music business. You know, and like I said, I don't really think about it a lot, but when I really look back at it, my brother took, you know, he's 10 years older than me, so he kind of had to take me everywhere because he was also my babysitter, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, so you were born in Ohio, right?
Yes, I was born in Ohio,
What city?
Cleveland.
Your whole family, your brothers too?
No, just me.
When'd you end up coming out here?
When I was 4.
Oh, okay, okay. But you've been out here.
Yeah, I've been out here. As my dad used to like to say, my mother took me as far away from him as she could.
That
but
happens,
you know, I went back and visited often.
Of course, yeah. No, you're always going to have a connection to your father, I think,
Yeah, yeah.
no matter what. And so you moved out here, like, did you move to, like, you know, what city did
Oakland.
you? Oakland, the
Moved
town.
to Oakland, yeah.
Town business,
Yeah.
all right. So,
It started in Oakland, then we went to Berkeley, and then ended up in El Cerrito and went to school in Richmond.
okay. De Anza High?
I went to Kennedy High.
Oh, Kennedy. Okay. I have cousins that went to De Anza. So.
Okay, yeah,
We
I
know
like to call it.
Richmond.
I like to call it the prison because boy, that's what it looks like.
So I went to a high school in the city, San Francisco, called Philip and Sala Burton. We used to call it Philip and Sala Burton Penitentiary.
Yeah,
Because that's what it felt like, you know.
I don't know why they build. I don't know why they build those high schools to look like that. It just makes no sense. But
That's what they
It was
are.
just
They're
like an
fucking the
industrial-
program.
Yeah, it was
Their
an
program
industrial,
systems.
like, you know, yes, you know, slave ship is the wrong word, but it was like a, you know, program, you know, factory workers to do factory work, which
Sure.
is, you know, I'm sure, again, growing up in the city, I'm sure growing up in Oakland, you know how our education system is. It's hasn't changed for many years. It's
Sure.
like classroom with 35 kids, you know, one teacher and a bunch of desks. So,
yeah, the strong survive. That's about it.
but yeah. So going back to that high school and whatnot, at what point did like you feel like a music career was what was gonna be for you?
I think, well, not I think. I know Rodney Franklin and I were friends, and he's, you know, for people who don't know who he is, he's a jazz pianist, and he was a virtuoso, young virtuoso, and he got a record deal with Sony, and so back then, when you get a record deal, the record company takes you out on a promo tour, and they have all their employees working for them, and then afterwards they just pretty much cut you loose. And he came to me and said, "I need a road manager." And I said, "What does a road manager do?" I said, "I don't know." and I said, "Sure, let's do it."
So you were taught how to road manage by Earth, Wind, and Fire's road manager, Perry White?
Yes.
So you decide like,
you do some research, huh?
oh yeah,
A little bit.
No, I mean that's the thing. For us, we're fascinated by
Yeah.
you know the Bay Area thing. I mean the culture. You know, for
Mm-hmm.
us the culture is the music. You know, the shoes, the sports. You know, all of that. And so yeah, we are gonna go deep. And that's
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
wanted to know from you is like, you know, obviously at some point you decided like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna be a music manager. I don't know what I'm doing, but then you got a little bit of guidance from, like you
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
Earth,
So
Wind,
what
and Fire's
happened
manager.
was I went out on the road ride and we lost $5,000 the first night because what I didn't know is you collect the money before you go on stage. If you don't know the promoter, because a lot of the promoters are shady.
Janky promoters.
And so, you know, we lost $5,000 and I never lost any money after that.
So it was a good lesson to
Nice.
learn early, kind of,
uh,
right?
The first show. And then
So I mean, yeah, these guys don't know who Rodney Franklin is probably because they're young. I mean,
Sure,
and
sure.
it was a little before my time, but man, we're talking about a major composer, pianist,
Absolutely.
that like man worked with people. You know, the name Stanley Clark.
Yeah, Stanley Clark. I mean, he worked with every major jazz musician because he was the young and up and coming jazz musician. They did a show once at it was in New York. I can't remember which facility in New York, but they did like a pyramid of pianos. It was Herbie Hancock, Rodney McCoy Tyner, George Duke, and a couple others, and they all played on this pyramid. And I've never looked on YouTube. I wonder if it's on YouTube, but
Maybe, yeah.
Sounds
I
dope.
don't know if it was
Yeah.
filmed. You know, that yeah, but it was.
Jordan's from here too, right? San Rafael?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
No, that's
classic.
crazy. So Rodney was your buddy, like you say, like,
Yeah.
And so it just so happens he's popping. He needs a manager.
Yeah,
You're the
road
guy.
manager.
Road
Road
manager.
manager,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
learning and on the job and but you're like, man, like people don't know, like Johnny Guitar Watson, Gary Taylor, Stanley
Mm-hmm.
Clark, all these names that you're around. Like these guys are like, I mean, Stanley Clark, he's a 5-time Grammy winner.
Yeah, I mean,
know what
Stanley, you know, I like to say he's the best bass player in the world. You know, some people say he's a top 3, but he's, you know, I mean, he's a legend. He's actually coming up here in the Bay Area soon, and he's doing 4 shows at SF Jazz, and it's going to be great because every night's going to be a different night.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I was listening to his first album, the bass folk song or something. It was crazy because like if you hear the bass, it's like it sound like crazy. Sound like he's like sound like 3 or 4 basses at the same time, like he's drumming. It sound like drums almost.
Yeah. Stanley's incredible, and he's just as an incredible person too. Absolutely. Yeah.
No, that's good. That means something because like I have met a lot of people in the industry, I'm sure as you have, that aren't the best or coolest people, you know what I mean? But no, so you're working with these jazz fusion, you know, rhythm and blues or like all of these and then you're getting obviously the knowledge you need to be a road manager, and then at some point you're like, fuck that, I'm going gangster rap music.
So I moved to LA after I got out of college. And because at that point, I was sure I wanted to be in the music business. Yeah, SF State. Okay. But I was sure I wanted to be in the music business at that point. And somehow Rodney connected with Jerry Heller. So I only knew a couple people in the music business. So I called Jerry and said, "Can you know, I'm here. I want to do something." And he connected me with Lonzo Williams from World Class Wrecking Crew. And I used to go over there and just, you know, do the books and do whatever he needed for, I like to say, for a turkey sandwich, because that's pretty much what I got.
We call that banana money.
And World Class Record Crew is the origination of NWA. DJ Yella, Dr. Dre, Lonzo,
I think Michell'le did stuff with them too at that time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
and if you go on, and if you go on DJ Yella's Facebook page, he's right now starting to post old World Class Wrecking Crew pictures, and he posted a picture. It was me, Dre, Yella, and Lonzo, and it had to be 1988. He just posted that picture like yesterday.
Okay. So Rodney hooks you up with Jerry Heller.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Heller starts like introducing you to the crew pretty much.
Yeah, he introduced me to Lonzo, and then, you know, at some point Lonzo like basically said to me, "If you help me make some money, I'll give you a percentage of whatever we make together." And that's pretty much how I started. Right. You know, as far as going on the management side,
sure,
and on the label side, because it was, you know, running Crew Cut Records, which was Lonzo's label that the World Class Wrecking Crew was on, and Ice Cube was on. You know, did his first record. That record's pretty much buried.
Wow.
It was CIA was the name of the group.
Okay.
Yeah.
You shot a couple album covers for them too. Some artwork.
Yeah, I shot. What album cover did I shoot?
It was one like black and white. I think it was.
Yeah, it was Turn Off the Lights and I forgot the name of the album, but the single was Turn Off the Lights. It was black and white. Because originally I was going to be a photographer. That's what I actually went to school for. I went to Laney in Oakland for photography, and I went to the art school in San Francisco. I can't remember the name of the school off the top of my head. And then at some point I switched and went to San Francisco State and started studying business and theater arts management, and, you know, whatever class I could find that was connected to entertainment.
When did you meet Perry White?
So it was during one of Rodney's albums, and Tom 84, who was the person that did all the horn arrangements for Earth, Wind and Fire, either produced the whole album or produced some songs. And at some point I met Perry White, and he's like, "Look, he just gave me a stack of papers and said, this is, if you want to be a road manager, this is how you have to do it." And he gave me all the papers, whether it was the information, how you set up hotels, how you do luggage, how you do travel. He just he
gave you the playbook.
He just gave me the playbook, man. It was awesome.
Dope.
No, that is dope. No, and then I'm sure once the learning curve, or not the learning curve, but once you've learned, you know, your job a little better, you're starting to grow and expand out a little bit. I mean, I think you also, were you managing Above the Law also, I think?
I didn't manage Above the Law, but I road managed Above the Law.
Okay, yeah. No, I remember them specifically because at the time I was, you know, studying film, and they had a music video called Black Superman.
Yep.
That was like, dude, they had like this mini helicopter. I don't know how they shot. That was my thing. I'm a technical film guy, so I want to know how they got the shot. You know what I mean? I was like, it had to be a mini helicopter. Like they're standing on the roof, and the helicopter's like flying by the cars, and I mean, it was an
Yeah.
incredible production for the time. You know,
Yeah, I don't remember how that was shot.
especially
Original
hip-hop. I mean,
drone.
yeah, hip hop at the time. Yeah, no, I mean, at the time I was working at Lee Utterbach, and we rented motion picture camera systems, and there was a guy by the name of Tom Miller who did. Specifically, he was, helicopter mounts, but we're talking a real helicopter. And I know a real helicopter wasn't getting that low and that close. So
Right.
it had to be some kind of model setup. And I still haven't figured it out. I thought you would be able to answer that for me.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I mean, that time, I mean, it was a controversial time for rap music. And I guess the next question from me is like, you went from like, Grammy award winning caliber, not that you went any, reverse, but you switched from one genre that's like black and white compared to the next genre that you went to. And how was that transition, like dealing with the artists compared to like Rodney? This is your friend, this is somebody I'm sure you could have open conversations with him.
Kind
When
of
you
just changed with the
transition to rap,
times.
yeah,
No,
when
it
you-
kind of just like changed with the times.
Man, when you're going through something, you don't really think about what you're going through. It's like,
Just
we're
happening.
we're here today, and I work with all these people, and all these people are now iconic. Majority of people that I've worked with are iconic. But when you're going through the process, you're just going
Not
through
thinking
the process.
about it.
Man, back then, like I said, I was working for a turkey sandwich. So on the weekends, I would sell hot dogs and donuts at my nephew's basketball games. When he was like 6 years old. That's how I would get my gas money, because I lived in the valley, to get down to Compton. Sometimes I didn't pay my rent for months, but I kept the phone on. You didn't have lights. You just go through the process. You don't think about it. You don't know where you're going to end up. There wasn't a blueprint.
Right.
Especially when it was hip hop in the West Coast, there was no blueprint. Now there's people like to think there's a blueprint, but there was no blueprint. You're talking about 1987, 1988,
Right.
86.
Yeah,
that
super
era.
controversial time too. Like I said, the whole Rodney King thing was gonna happen eventually, and then the NWA Fuck the Police tour. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
that was like again, like I said, going from jazz, to this type of environment. Like, was it hard to do, or did you ever say like, damn, I should have stuck over there?
No, I never even thought about it. I just kept moving forward.
That's awesome.
Just like I do today. I always just keep moving forward, and never really thought about it. It was just what we were doing. Ice Cube says it brilliantly. Actually, I saw an interview of his. He said we were just trying to be, popular in our city. They didn't know what NWA was going to be, where they were going to end up. They were just, doing what they did.
Man, yeah, no, legendary. I mean, being on the road with these guys. I mean,
No, they were cool, man.
I'm sure-
There was, as far as Dre and Cube and Eazy and Yella and Ren, they were cool. There was never an
I
issue.
believe that a lot, because like I've been on the road with like 40 or different artists and stuff, and like they're all pretty cool. I mean, for one thing that I think people have the misconception is these artists are pretty well educated. They're very well rounded, and like they have a great understanding of what they're trying to accomplish. And even though it might not be like a blueprint, like you say, like they have something different that other people don't, and it's an organization of their ideas and their projects to get out there. And so yeah, I love hearing that. You know what I mean? That there was it was just them focusing on what they were trying to do, which is that's important. Especially we managed, Tino and I managed, like I said, Boston George when he got out of prison, and like sometimes like wrangling a former drug kingpin, like he liked to drink scotch, so he would there'd be a point where he went a little too far into the scotch, and then he's starts. By the time I was your age, I already had 60 million in the bank. What are you guys doing?
Right.
Well, we're staying out of jail, George. But yeah, like I said, it's again, the creative artist is a complex human being, because they're trying so hard to accomplish something, and there's really no time to dick around if you're really serious about it.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty linear focused, is what I was saying. There's a lot of
that's the best way to say it.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff coming on the outside, and they'll go this way or that way, but even going that way, this way or that way, they still go straight. I mean, that's how they get there. You can't get there by, jumping and going down different roads. You gotta stay linear focused, you know. And when opportunities come to you, you take them within what you're doing. So, yeah.
There it is.
In the building.
All right, we're all good. We're back.
I want
in
to
the
ask
building.
him a question real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like it has you right here in this for this 1980 Rodney Franklin album. They has you as for hand clapping.
Yes.
For us.
Can you play that back? For us?
Right.
Let's hear the hand
Go
clap.
ahead and play that tune real quick.
Yeah, I on 2 records. I'm on that one, and I'm on what's the name of the song? It's All in the Same Gang.
Oh, for us?
And
Oh,
I-
shit.
Damn, that's big.
And I have one little part. I was in the studio and Dre's like, "Come on and get in the booth and go say this. You're here. You need to say something."
Uh-huh.
I forgot what it was. Every time I hear it, I know what it is.
Yeah.
But
You're like, that's me right there.
Yeah.
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 You're like West
So
Coast,
those are
motherfucker.
two,
Nah.
those are 2 records I'm on.
With the
Nice.
clap. Oh,
Nice.
that's big. That's big.
Dope.
At the time, were you
I should
part
reach
of
out
the
to
World Class Wrecking Crew, or what crew were you part of at the time?
That was Digital Underground. That was
Okay.
Yeah.
Digital. All right.
Right.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Digital, yeah.
Speaking of
It was on
digital,
the song.
that's where we were kind of talking about. But Sex in the Studio is a project that I did with Money B, Clee. We had Shock in there. And Mike Pearson at that time is when he kind of peeled off and went back to law school.
Right.
You know, Atron was nowhere to be found because you said you were coaching girls
I
soccer.
was coaching my youngest daughter in girls soccer. So when Mun called me to get involved with Sex in the Studio, it was like that. Can't do that.
It wasn't a good look. So, would you? This is a true story. Do you know who helped coach that soccer team with you?
Is your dad?
No, it was me.
It was you?
It was me. So my daughter Angelica played with your daughter. I mean, that was the thing. So Mun was like, man, my boy Atron needs your help, dog. So I coach, soccer with our daughters on the same soccer team as you in Richmond. Yeah.
Up at when we used to practice up off a hilltop.
That's right. Richmond Park.
Wow.
Right there. Yeah, can you believe that? So I told you I had a
Really?
surprise for you.
That's a surprise.
Yeah, that's a big surprise.
Wow.
So if you weren't going to do the podcast, we were going to tell Mike that we were going to let you have it over the whole soccer thing. Like, man, he coached a whole season.
And we didn't win a game. Don't tell anyone.
Well, now we told everybody. No, but you know what? We didn't win any games, but we won a lot of knowledge, good sportsmanship. We had a great time, right?
Wow,
Sometimes
were
a loss
there
is a
coaching
lesson.
with me?
I was there coaching.
amazing.
So I drove from Santa Rosa to Richmond twice a week, I think it was, and just to do practice. But it was something that I wanted to do, not only to help you, but to for my daughter. It was like, oh, she's the same age. It works out. Oh, it's cool. We did not win a game, or they did not win a game. we were part
Purple
of
Panthers. Wasn't
the
that
Purple Panthers.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So
Wow.
believe it or not, yeah, that's we had some time on the soccer field together, bro.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah,
right?
that's serious.
That's
man.
a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I- we-
All right. So, we didn't win a game, but it was a lot of fun. And like I said, my daughter still remembers, I used to drive her, like I said, down to from Santa Rosa to Richmond to go to practice. She would always fall asleep. And when we would get to practice, I would wake her up the same way every time, like, oh, watch out. And, she would freak out. And, she knew it was time for soccer. So, that's a surprise for you.
That's super cool, man.
That is cool, man. Like I said,
That's what we do for our daughters. Did you play soccer or anything yourself?
I did, yeah.
See, I
So-
didn't know anything about
Well,
soccer.
that's why Mun was like, man, Atron needs your help. I know you played soccer, I was
So
like,
Mun
yeah.
sent that is so.
Money B was
that
the
is
one that
hilarious.
connected it. Yeah, and like I said, at the time we were producing Sex in the Studio, so I was venturing off, on the weekends to go do the interviews and all that. But
Right.
no, I was doing the fatherly thing as well,
man.
coaching soccer. So
That's nice. My daughter, her and her husband buying their first house.
Okay.
Their deal just got accepted today, and she's heading to the Essence Festival tomorrow morning, with a couple of my nieces and her friends and 5 girls in one bedroom and one hotel room. I said, you guys have a lot to talk about.
that's it. Yeah. That's awesome. No, that's awesome. Yeah,
Y'all have
my
some
daughter
stories. How's she
graduated
doing?
from Sonoma State.
Okay.
And she's she got a little family of her own. I got 2 grandsons.
Congratulations.
And so
man.
it's been great, man. I mean, like I
Wow.
said, those were the formative years that we got to spend with them, and
Absolutely.
coincidentally, you and I coached soccer together.
Yeah.
So we were in the building long before we're in the building right now.
Absolutely. Wow, that's awesome. Man.
I got something to tell you guys too. I was the ref. No, I was like,
No wonder we lost all the games. No mercy. No, so all right. So that was a personal life, and I mean, I guess a good question too is like it's hard. I know this. It's hard to have a family and do those things when you're on the road a lot, and I'm sure, like especially with the artists you work with, you were on the road a lot. I mean, did that affect your personal life with your family? And if it did, like just kind of share a little bit, if you would.
I don't know if it affected my personal life with my family so much. You know, I had a good support system. Like my daughter, like I don't know if you remember this, but I was raising my daughter at that time too. So I had an older one also, and I bought 2 beds and put them in my mom's house. So when I went on the road, they stayed with my mom. You know, but I was fortunate to have good support.
no.
But yeah, I was just fortunate to have good support, you know, with my mom and my girls. You know, so when I had to go, and you know, my daughters would say, "Well, you left us for 2 months." Well, I left you with your grandma, and I had to make money so you could eat. So
That's I mean, there is a sacrifice to the type of job this really is. I mean, again, like I've managed a couple people, and with the film thing, you're away, like you said, months sometimes it can be. And I mean, there was even times, like I said, where I came home, dropped my bags, picked up some new bags, and left.
it left, yeah.
And I know it was tough on my family life, you know, and so I was separated at the time too, and so that was like quality time I got to spend with my daughter doing the soccer thing. But yeah, that was part of, you know, of this business that I thought, you know, was hard, you know, for everybody that does it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, everyone goes through something, whatever it is you do, though, you know. So, you know, my daughters, but you know, that's how they ate. They had relatively stable household. You know, they went to college and with hip hop, you know. So
that's a lovely thing. I mean, I know it's hard. Like, I know a lot of people, even, you know, basketball. Everybody wants to be a rapper. You know what I mean? There's very few that actually get to live a successful or lead a successful life because of it.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm very thankful for the ones that we've had, especially like, you know, Tupac, Digital Underground, and that's where I think we want to go next. Is like, you said Rodney hooked you up with Jerry. I think somebody hooked you up with. I think it was Rodney also hooked you up with Shock G.
He did.
He did.
With Chopmaster J.
Right.
And Rodney had a connection, I think, through Chopmaster J's sister, and Chopmaster J and Shock G were partners early on in Digital Underground, and so and Rodney knew what I was doing, and you know, we were talking about starting a company together, but it never really came to fruition. But that's how I met Chopmaster J and Shock. It was through Rodney. So yeah.
And so Shock, man, rest in peace, Shock. I was sad to hear about his passing. And we did get to spend some time with him on the Sex in the Studio set. He was funny, man.
Yeah.
Incredible character and all the characters. But when you met him, I mean, I'm sure there's many connections. But what was the thing about him that stood out to you about, like, wow, again, I think this was the transition from like jazz to
no, I was already in hip hop because, you know, World Class Wrecking Crew, NWA, JJ Fad.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
DOC.
all of them. DLC.
Okay, yeah.
But that tour never happened because 2 days before his tour, he got in that bad accident.
Right.
So he was going to go on his own separate tour.
Yeah, he was tight. He wrote like a lot of stuff for Dr. Dre and stuff too.
Yeah. Lyrically, he was one of the best for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was tight. He still is.
Yeah.
I think he's doing music now. He's trying to do some new
stuff. I read that. I don't really
but
talk to him. You know, every now and then I might reach out to him on Facebook and, you know, say hello to each other or something like that. But I don't, you know, I haven't really, you know, seen those guys for a couple decades. You know, for the most part. I mean, last time I saw Ice Cube was at the premiere of of the movie. Yeah.
Oh,
Straight Outta Compton, yeah.
Okay.
So it's the last time I saw him.
And so you met Shock, and Shock was like different, I'm sure, to you.
Yeah, you know what it was? I met Jimmy and Shock, and I was looking for something unique musically, because that's what I kind of try to stand on, is find stuff that I believe is unique. You know, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I was fortunate. That was my first group on TNT, and I just like what I heard. It was Underwater Rhymes and Your Life's a Cartoon.
Dude, Underwater Rhymes was an incredible jam. You
Yeah.
know, MC Blowfish.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so
I
I loved it, and I'm like, let's go. And you know, we got lucky. You know, we got lucky. You know, just everything came together. It's a great record. I understood a little bit about marketing and promotion as far as from the I'd say from the technical side in a sense, by going to the promotion people, going to having them go to the radio, and then Michell'le Records was down in L.A. and they were if you had a record, you can go to Michell'le and they'll press it up and try to sell it for you, and that's what we did, and I got that from working with Lonzo and the World Class Wrecking Crew and Crew Cut Records, and Egyptian Lover and all those guys. Yeah.
And that was on Tommy Boy, right? That was on Tommy Boy Digital.
No, it was originally on TNT.
Okay.
And then I did a deal with Tommy Boy.
Okay. Yeah. And TNT, I heard Shock G created your logo too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Dope.
I did a logo, and he's like, "This is whack." So
no, I mean, he did like the artwork for that Sex Packets album.
Yeah.
I think like all the cartoons stuff. Like,
Yeah.
dude,
bro.
he was incredibly
Dope.
talented. I mean, man, I knew when I met him a couple times. The thing that stood out, like he had the piano keys, tatted on his arm, and he was serious about music. And
Yeah.
one time specifically, we were waiting on him for a meeting in like the Wilshire, Beverly Hills Hotel or something, and like he was running late, I guess. We were waiting for him, but he's staying like right down the street at the at one of the fancy hotels. He always stayed in the real fancy hotels. I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
But he's late, and then all of a sudden, you hear somebody playing the piano in the lobby.
That was
and
him.
there's people crowding around. You know what I mean? And Shock's late, so let's go see what's going on. And it was Shock playing the piano. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, and then other times we were in Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles one time with the whole film crew. Munn, Clee, Two Fly Eli, those cats, and Shock was like, "Oh, I'll be right back." You know what I mean? He took off and comes back in, several minutes later, and he's dressed in like a mechanic's jumpsuit. He's got a toolbox, and he's, giving Two Fly, like, "Man, you dogged me on that. I'm going to take your car apart. I'm taking my part out." Like, creates this big scene in front of everybody at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. It was just hilarious. You know what I mean? That's the type of stuff that he did just out the blue. We were shooting Money B's music video in Oakland. We're on a rooftop, and Shock was going to come over. He wasn't going to be in the. He made it clear. I'm not going to be in the video. This is Money B's thing. Like,
Was it the first Raw? What video was it?
It was Put Your Thing on Me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Put Your Thing on Me. So this is well after all of that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And the way Shock showed up, this rooftop in Oakland, right? He's out in front in his GTO, the black GTO. He's doing donuts out in front of the. And so that everybody's looking over the ledge of the apartment complex they were at the top of, and that's how he made his grand entrance. But that's what I remember about him. Usually he made a grand entrance, and if he didn't, he would go and re-enter so that it was more grand. Yeah.
I heard years ago that I don't know if it's true enough, that he was getting like 2 checks when he performed. Like he was as Shock and as Humpty.
No.
Nah? Oh, okay. I heard that years ago.
That would have been a great deal.
I know that. I should have thought of that, right?
Yeah, right. Like,
It's 2 people, 2 performances.
Two
You know what I'm saying?
characters, technically, right? Maybe 1.5 or
Something, yeah.
I
like the idea. I definally should have thought about it.
He was the first dude to ever. And no one, they still didn't do that. That's 2 personalities. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, and even
like,
in shooting Sex in the Studio, I'm sure. Can you attest to this? Like, if he was Shock G, and I would tell him something about Humpty, I'll tell him when I see him.
Yep.
Like, he really would separate the characters.
Yeah, he was really. He once told me that in order to make people believe the character, you have to be the character. So he really was Humpty. He embodied and was Humpty. You could not say Shock to Humpty, and you couldn't say Humpty to Shock, and have him respond. If he's in Humpty character, he's Humpty. If he's Shock, which is him, then he's Shock, but he won't.
It's like a real wrestling gimmick, you know what I mean?
For real. He took it so
Ric Flair,
serious.
Hogan, you know what I mean?
That's and I remember he had the big, the big case that he would open with all the noses and different. Yeah. I mean, he was a great entertainer, man. I'm sad that he's no longer with us.
So am I. I actually, ever since 5 days after his death, I've been wearing this every day. His family gave it to him, And I've been wearing this every day, just to remind me of him. And
Yeah, I mean,
and plus I still do a lot of stuff with digital, so to always remind myself how he would do things, because we would often have conversations like I want something one way, he'd want something another way, but it was his thing. So I'm always trying to remind myself of what was important to him, especially as it relates to Digital Underground and his art. So,
yeah, no, I mean they were incredible. I mean, how did that time, like that time? I mean, I know digital was big. They were touring like Africa and all that. I mean, obviously you were a part of that. How was all that experience? And I mean, I've seen many digital shows because of Sex and the Studio and stuff. Like their shows get pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like for real. Like with the curtain that you can see but you can't see,
Uh-huh.
and there's certain things that go on behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that?
I mean, it was fun. Touring was fun with digital. We toured the world. We had a great time. It was my first time really touring the world. I did some of that with JJ Fad because they had an international hit with Supersonic, so we did do some stuff. But as far as the worldwide touring, it was really with Digital Underground. And again, all of us were young, and we were just having fun, and we did our best to stay out of trouble, and just enjoy life, man. It was a great time, and being able to go to Japan, all over Europe, it was just a great time.
You do the same with NWA?
NWA, I only did the United States with them, but I know they did do stuff out of the country. I just didn't do it with them.
So like I heard in the movie when they got arrested, that didn't really happen, and you were there, not Jerry.
Yeah, but it was I call these movies Hollywood fiction based on historical fact.
Right.
There has to be the story. It has to make sense. It has to be cohesive, and
then they gotta have the Hollywood twist to it.
Yeah, it has to be
make it cool,
Hollywoodized.
yeah.
It has to be kind of glamour. Embellished for sure.
Yeah, a lot of it was fact. Some of it wasn't. I knew what it was going to be beforehand. Not everyone did, but because I had communication with people who were on the set. I didn't necessarily talk to Dre or Cube or anyone, but other people would talk to him, so I kind of knew, like Layla from ATL, so he would tell me what was going on, or Lonzo would tell me what was going on, so I knew what to expect or what not to expect when I saw the movie. So I wasn't like, well, I should have been there. I should, I knew I wasn't going to be, and I knew that it looked better for the film and the movie for Jerry to be there, for Jerry's character to be there, I should say. And the movie worked, and I'm happy for them, real happy for him.
When did you meet him, Jerry? When did you meet Jerry? Like, when did you guys?
Jerry Heller?
Yeah.
Probably 86, 87, something like that.
And then how'd you guys, like, who was the manager? Who was the road manager?
Rodney Franklin, Jerry Heller managed Rodney for a period of time, and that's how I met Jerry.
And Jerry did like before that, like Tina Turner, all kinds of people.
I don't know if Tina Turner, but he did a lot of
Journey,
rock groups.
I think.
Yeah,
maybe.
I can't remember all the rock groups he did, but he did a lot of rock groups. He was an agent.
So you guys just kind of just went with it went from like rap was just it. So you guys just hopped into the rap game pretty much.
It just was started happening in L.A. And as far as Jerry, I don't want to speak for him. He's not here to speak, but he saw something new, innovative, young. I guess the word hip, would be the word. I don't like using that word, but just something unique, and he latched onto it, and he knew the record business, and none of us knew the record business, and so he understood it. He understood how to get Eazy, the right deals, and made Eazy a lot of money, like that. That's the only thing I didn't necessarily like about the movie, was that it made Eazy look like he was broke at the end, and Eazy was far from broke. And it's pretty documented. Eazy was worth for that time period, Eazy was worth, tens of millions of dollars, if I'm not mistaken. And that's a lot of money for that time period. Now we're talking about hundreds of millions, right. And in some cases billions with a couple people, but Eazy wasn't broke.
So you were
as far as I know, I should say. As far as
you worked with like Tommy and like Ruthless at the same time, or how was that?
No, so I decided I wanted to start my own company, but I kept working with Ruthless as I was starting my own company because that was my income. And Eazy and Jerry even gave me a down payment for my first house when I was in LA. So, but I wanted to start my own company. That was Eazy's company. That was Jerry's company. Dre, those guys. It was their company, and I wanted to have my own thing. And so, I just started looking. And so I was still working for Ruthless as I was starting my own thing.
So, yeah, go ahead. The rap scene, like I said, at that time, it was definitely picking up steam. I mean, I don't know if the attitude at the time was like, yeah, this is gonna be big. Like you said, it's more you're just going through it.
Yeah, you're just doing your thing. You don't know you're gonna end up where you are today, or if you asked Ray, did he know he was gonna be a billionaire and he was gonna be get all these awards? Did I know Tupac 2 or 3 weeks ago that we were gonna be in Hollywood, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, honoring Tupac, and he's getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I didn't even know what the Hollywood Walk of Fame was in 1988.
Right.
To be quite honest.
I think I had somebody I read somewhere he gave great insight to, like, especially the creative world. It's like the creative world is more about the journey than it is the destination.
Absolutely.
Because once you get to the destination, the dream is over. Like, it's
yeah. You have to start a new idea, right?
That's what it is.
Once you get to the destination, and you don't know where the destination is going to be. You just start your process. And I think part of what misleads people or people get off track is they try to get to the destination. They look to, like, this is where I want to be, especially artists. They say, this is where I want to be, and they try to get there before they do the work. Not all of them, because obviously there's a lot of them that are successful, so they're humping and doing the work. But, there's so many of them that I want to be here. I want to be a billionaire like Jay-Z. I want to be the number one female artist like Beyonce. There's only one Beyonce. There's only one Jay-Z. There's only one Tupac. There's only one, people iconic like that. I mean, there's only one Shock G. Iconic people, there's only one of. There's one Ice Cube. So you can aspire to be him, but you really need to see who you are, what makes you unique, and then go on that journey and see where you go. That's if I was giving any advice to artists, that would be my advice.
Right. So for you, man, you had like a track record of just great artists. I've
been fortunate, man.
Yeah.
And I'm working on new stuff now. We'll see what happens.
Definitely.
How many plaques you got?
I don't know.
Did you get them all, or do you still have a few you got to order, or like? I know some people don't even order them. They're just like.
I mean, I could probably get more because songs get on, soundtracks and different things. But I have a few on the wall. At one time I had them on every wall, and then I took them all down and stuck them in the garage, because I'm like, that was yesterday. I'm proud of it. I'm happy, but it's what am I doing today?
Right. It's a new.
And so, but I did pull them back out during COVID and put them on the wall. Some on the wall, because now I'm just having with the Zoom and all that calls, it's like now I just have a blank white wall in the background. So I put some up, but I'm actually getting to take them back down.
Right on.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. I mean, like I said, Tupac for us was legendary to the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, we're here in the area where he went to high school. Tam High is right down the street. Yeah.
And you like first seen him like out with San Rafael, or like some festival?
I actually first saw Tupac on a videotape that Layla Steinberg sent me.
Okay.
So she had called me. I met her earlier on when I was working with Ruthless, and she was doing shows up in Santa Rosa, and I met her when I was road managing JJ Fad, and so I told her, if you need something, call me. And at some point she called me and said, hey, I got these guys. It was Tupac, Ray Love, and Diz, the DJ.
What's the name of it? Was
Was
group?
it the Link
Dope,
Group?
It was called Strictly Dope.
Strictly
Strictly
Dope,
Dope,
yeah.
that's right.
Strictly
Yeah,
Dope,
yeah.
yeah. That's right.
And she sent me the tape. And at that time, I wasn't, Shock and I had this agreement that I wasn't going to sign anyone unless both of us liked them. So I'm like, man, I like this tape, but I need you to see if you like them. So Ray and Tupac were supposed to go to Starlight Studios in Richmond, but I think at the time Ray's dad didn't let him go, because I think Ray might have been 17 or something like that. And what a lot of people don't know about Ray, and people watching this, they might not even know who this is, but Ray's grandfather was Cab Calloway.
Calloway, I read that.
And so there was, his father, knowing what the entertainment business was like, didn't want his son in it. So I don't think Ray was allowed to go to the studio that day. So only Tupac went. And then Tupac rapped for Shock, and Shock calls me like, I love him, let's do it. But it wasn't just Tupac. It was a whole group. It was Ray. It was a whole group, Strictly Dope.
So Ray did end up getting to participate.
No, absolutely. But
no, that's good because Ray Love. Shout out to Ray Love. I love Ray Love. He's from Santa Rosa, and like I said, the
Young Black Brother. Then his first album was Young Black Brother Records.
So,
yeah. Kyrie's label. Yeah. Kyrie.
Yeah, Kyrie. We know Kyrie pretty well. He's actually done the sound on a couple of the films that I produced.
Oh, nice.
And so we've developed a good relationship with him. And I mean, that's the thing is like we want to talk to all these people a little bit, especially the ones that don't, do a lot of media, only because we want the Bay Area and our viewers specifically to know, the history of.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm still tripping on the soccer thing.
I know.
I'm looking at you like
I knew you would. I didn't want to tell you ahead of time. So I didn't mean to. See, I had hair back then, so that's why you probably
forget about the ref.
Yeah.
That is so super cool, man.
Well, and then it's a small world, right? Like I said, I worked with Munn and them on that project, Sex in the Studio, and had a great time. And the only thing was like it took us 2 years to get the first episode out. We signed like an 8-picture deal. So it was like, damn, it's going to take 16 years to get this deal through. I was like, I don't think I could do porno that long. And so I kind of branched off and kind of went back to...
You guys went to Brazil too, didn't you? Do some stuff?
All of that, yeah. I mean, it was good. I mean, travel. I mean, we did many cities. So they put together like a Sex in the Studio tour that, I mean, I don't even know if it was a Sex in the Studio. It was mixed. I mean, Munn and them were performing like... And that's what we were kind of just coattailing the performances, doing interviews on the side with people, and it worked. Like you said, I mean, we didn't know that it was going to work as well as it did, but we thought it was a good idea, and so we did it. You know?
But you never know. You got to do it, man. You never know what's going to happen if you don't do something.
Exactly.
No, that's the truth, and that's why now, after many years of doing different projects, I mean, we're still working on the feature film thing, but. This podcast was a way for us to go directly to our viewers, and at some point to build a platform that we can hopefully distribute our own films directly to our consumer instead of going through a distributor. In the past, we raise the funds to make a film. We make a film, we take all the risk, and then we take it to a distributor, and they take half.
Mm-hmm. You said you was trying to get into movies too, right?
Yeah. I'm looking at doing it. Music is tough. The streaming, how much money
kills
you make,
kills it now.
It's real tough. I was there's some music I want to do, and I spent the whole pandemic doing this project called the Solo Piano Group, and it was a collection of pianists. And the idea was just have work on relaxing music and music to chill to kind of. You
make it at a certain frequency or something too.
Yeah,
that's good for your heart and your blood pressure.
I did all that. I put real quiet frequencies in there and all that.
Yeah, I actually checked it out. So like I said, mood music, but candles, tea, like this is like a mood pretty much. Yeah.
But I spent a lot of money on it, and you can't sell CDs. So you can't sell, 3,000 CDs and get your money back. You got to, get millions and millions of streams to get your money back. So it's tough. So I was, on my way over here, I was thinking, how can I invest in music and not worry about making the money back? And I think one of the things I'm going to look at is selling merch, take that merch money and invest in the music and let people know that's what we're doing, and let people know that's hard. Like, producers nowadays, as an example, I can go on Fever and get a song, a beat for $10. How can young producers make any money?
Right.
I mean, I'm paying $200 to this guy per beat, but it's no money. But I was paying him $100. He said, "Hey, for these next two, can you give me $200?" I'm like, "Sure," because it's a guy I like, but. He can't make a living doing that. He has to have a second job. Young producers should have an opportunity to make a living. But when, independents like myself can't make I just shouldn't say we can't. It's hard to make money from streaming. You have to have so much streaming in order to make your money back. Even $200, you know, and then you throw some art and you throw a little marketing in there, and next thing you know, you're at a couple grand just for one song. You could do that back in the day, but now that's tough. And so I'm trying to think of ways where producers and artists can get supported from their art. They can make money, I can make money, and we can all do what we did. But it's tough. 100,000 songs hit the market every day, and so
Saturated.
In the building.
So yeah, come in with some way to be able to help the artists get paid for their product is the goal.
Yeah, it's challenging, and it's always challenging in the beginning for anybody, right?
Right.
But it's a different type of challenge now, when unless the producer or the artists are huge, when we as independents back in if we go back to the 80s, in independence we could still make a living. Now, as an independent, it is really hard to make a living. Just when you're just getting started. You could back then we could get a couple thousand pieces of vinyl and go make some money. And make a couple $1,000s in a month, which was back in the 80s was some money. So you'd have to how do you make $4,000 or $5,000 in a month now as an independent through streaming? That's tough.
You gotta have like your own site or something. You know what I mean? Like kind of like how Boosie did. I don't know if it's like Lil Boosie made a movie, but then he only had it on his website
Right, that's
to
what I'm
stream.
saying, his own platform.
Yeah, but then
again, direct to
but then you're only
consumer.
getting a certain amount.
Well, I mean,
you're not getting like all the Apple, Spotify streams.
Well, I think it's the equivalent of like what they used to do back, like you said, late 80s, early 90s, to sell tapes out of the trunk, CDs out of the trunk. I mean, even as a filmmaker, I mean, if we say spend $50,000 on an independent film, I mean, we only have to sell so many copies at $20 to get our money back, which, I mean, again, I don't know at what point filmmakers, especially independent filmmakers, said like, no, we need a distributor to help us. And then, the big six, Warner Brothers and all them took over, and then have all these subsidiary companies just buying stuff. And then, now you have, Netflix and Hulu and Showtime streaming, all that stuff. So, I mean, there's more options, but it's not getting any better.
Yeah. You have an opportunity for your stuff to be seen, but when you're young, it can be about ego. My stuff's on the radio, my stuff's on a platform, my stuff's on Tubi, my stuff's on Hulu. But are you getting paid? As you get older, you got to pay bills, right?
That's where the movies come in.
Yeah.
Like stepping it up to the movies now.
So you do some independent movies at a lower cost, and you have an opportunity to make a little bit of money.
No, that's the truth. I mean, the most recent film that we worked on, Adam and Eve, with Brian Hooks, it went through Homestead Entertainment, like I was mentioning, and they put it through Tubi, and I think they have another channel that they're gonna put it on eventually. But it went to Tubi, but we got a better split through Tubi than we would through like a traditional distributor. Instead of 50-50, it's like 65-35 ad split deal in our favor, and I mean, it sounds like a better deal, but I mean, it is a better deal. It definitely is a better deal. What it's going to take is, the bigger acts kind of coming on board, those types of projects to maybe flip the scripts on the industry. But yeah, until we get some power, I don't know if we'll ever solve that.
I know someone that they're putting movies out, and they're getting their movies, the number one movies on Tubi almost every quarter. Like a Stepmother, are you familiar with that movie?
I've seen it. Yeah.
I think they're on Stepmother 3 or 4 now.
Okay.
And they're doing well with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I think it's the making a film is a profitable venture. I know that. It's very risky as well.
Yeah.
But again, if you minimize the risk and do your due diligence to put production value in front of the camera, people want to be entertained. I mean, that's the thing. There is a need for the entertainment, so that's not working against us. Again, it's just having a platform to put these films out that doesn't take the lion's share of the money, which again, I'm preaching to the choir when it comes to that.
Sure.
You know, I know music is a lot tougher too. I mean, you know, Netflix, if you get a good Netflix deal, I mean, if it's a really good deal, you get 50, $100 million from Netflix.
Sure.
And I mean, that's the goal for us eventually. But in the meantime, I think, you know, it serves us a little better too to at least start building our own platform, which even, I mean, organically we're going to grow it. You know, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers for the YouTube channel, which was our goal
Right.
before we put these out. And we're right there, and we're ready to put them out. And so hopefully, again, we'll have to let you know in maybe a couple years if we've turned the tables on distribution.
There you go. I'm ready. I'm ready. For
All
sure.
right, so we won't keep you here too much longer, but now let's talk about, like, so being a music manager. Now you've done it for many years. You've got a load of experience. What can you say to someone who wants to become a road manager or entertainment type manager now? Like, any real words of advice that might help them?
I would say, you know, just find someone you believe in. That's the main thing, because it's a grind, it's work. You don't know whether you're going to make money, whether you're not going to make money. So you got to find someone you believe in, that trusts you and you trust. You know, you may not, you know, when you start, you don't know anything. I believe highly in reading. You know, there's the music
Self-educated.
business Bible is This Business of Music. It's about this thick, but it has everything you want to know about the music business in it. Now there's a bunch of books, but I believe in reading, because the more knowledge you have, the better you can help the person that you're working with, and the better, more they'll trust you, and you guys can grow together. And, you know, just go for it. You know, if that's what you want to do. You know, it's a risk, high risk, high reward. That's entertainment business. You know, if you don't want to risk, you guys just got to go get a job. You know, it's really that simple. It's
Exactly.
high risk, high reward. I've slept in my car. I've slept in parks, like I told you earlier. Didn't pay my rent for months, but I kept the phone on. Because if you don't have a phone on, you can't do business. You know, they're very simple principles, and it's you know, you gotta do it early. You know, you can do it before you have a lot of responsibility, because once you have responsibility, then there's going to be that, you know, pull and tug on you emotionally. You know, and then your family says you should be doing this instead of this. They're going to say that anyway. You know,
Right.
because, you know, it's entertainment business. So you're like, you can't do that. But, you know, just go for it. You know, but find someone you believe in. That's first and foremost.
Take that risk.
You know, if from a management standpoint, find someone you believe in, and that believes in you, and you can grow together.
At any point throughout your whole career, was there ever a time where you're like, fuck this? Did you have like that
Many
sure I had that. You know, and there's a bad
crawl in the closet in the hotel and cry for a little bit?
No, I
and
never did
then
that.
Get
But
over it?
no, I never. But I have a thing, and I don't know where I got this. If I have a bad day, the next morning I'm good. For whatever reason, I'm like that still today. If I have a bad day or a bad few hours, the next day I'm good. I don't know. You know, maybe that's something my mother instilled in me, or, you know, my father or stepfather or my brother, or you know, or just my upbringing through, you know, different things that I've done in life. But I just move on to the next day. You know, even if I might be tired because of what happened, but, you know, it's the next day. You know, I wake up, let's go to the next thing. You know, or even if you have to continue from where you left off, that's okay too. But you can't stay in that. You know, you can't stay in that funk. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. You know, I try to be pretty even keel. I don't try to get too high or too low. I just, you know, these big peaks and valleys, and for me personally, they're not fun. Some people are like, aren't you excited about that? I'm like, yes, cool. It could be the best thing ever, but I just try to keep it even. So when it's bad, I try to keep it even as well.
Balance.
You know, so
That's important.
that's just me. You know,
Yeah,
everyone's
I'm
different.
similar too. Yeah,
Yeah.
try to wake up positive every day, even if yesterday was tough. You know,
Yeah, I mean, what
New
you
day,
gonna
new
do?
opportunity.
It was
Yeah.
yesterday. Nothing you can do about it. It's gone, and just move forward.
Favorite football team?
Raiders, yes, Raiders. My
Raiders.
God, yes.
Well, you wanted to say Niners, right?
No, I didn't. I did not want to say Niners.
Raiders? Okay. Raiders all the way.
Raiders all the way, but it's painful.
Right.
It's been painful for a long time.
Love-hate relationship.
It's even more painful now. I mean, not because they moved to Vegas. I get it. Go make your money. I'm not following you. I'm not buying season's tickets. But I'm not even gonna. I don't even know if I'll go this year. I haven't been to the new stadium yet. But
so the A's are probably gonna follow him. Are you an A's fan too? Or?
I'm not really a baseball fan.
No baseball.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I've gone to A's games. I've gone to Giants
Sure, yeah.
games, but I'm not really a baseball fan. Lakers are my basketball team. Warriors are my second one. People are like, how can you have two teams? I can do what I want.
How about favorite places to eat in the Bay? You got a go-to place that you like to go to? You eat at home usually? What?
I don't necessarily have. I mean, so when friends come to town, I like to go to Skates because I just like the atmosphere there. You know, I like and not go even to the restaurant. Just go sit in the bar. You know, have some appetizers. I mean, you can have a full meal in the bar too. But it's just I love the water. Yeah, and so I like Skates. Man, I could go back to Lois as always. I haven't been there in a while, but you know I have to throw that in because
Where's that at?
that's in Oakland. Oakland, yeah, right on the Oakland-Berkeley border. Lois the Pie Queen.
To try that.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I don't really have a favorite place necessarily.
How about anywhere else in the nation? You got like favorite spots?
So years, and I haven't been here in 20 years, but there was a spot in New York. I can't remember the name of the restaurant. It's where Castellano was killed. The mob boss, he was killed in front of the Sparks. I think it was called
eater,
Sparks. Yeah, I think it was called Sparks. I had a great meal there 25 years ago. and I still remember it. That's how good it was.
That good.
Damn.
Do you remember what the meal was? What would you eat?
Oh yeah, it was steak and lobster.
Ooh, yeah.
I
Surf and
remember
turf.
clearly.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Serious question. Like I know we've been having fun, and it's gonna get serious. All right, you ready?
Sure.
Is Tupac alive?
His music is and will always be. Him? No.
So recently, on social media, like making the rounds, his daughter apparently is talking. Oh, he's alive, you know. And new photo came out
His
recently.
daughter? What daughter?
That's what I said.
Oh yeah, I just tripped off that.
Yeah.
I didn't
And
know he
so-
had a kid.
I saw that too. I just
Yeah, what
you know I
daughter?
see that stuff. I just turn it off. I mean I
Right.
move on to whatever is next.
Yeah, you don't get involved in the National Enquirer headlines. Huh?
No.
You see, my bad. That reminds me. You seen that Bill Clinton son? You ever seen
No.
it? Oh, dude, you got. I'll have to show you that afterwards. There's this kid that's saying he's Bill Clinton's son, and then he's like, you got. If you see the picture, well, you'll crack up. You look just like Bill Clinton. The mom's black. He's like he's like a light skinned Bill Clinton. He's like smiling and everything, bub. You watch it, you'll crack up.
that's
Oh my
funny.
God.
That's
He got the
funny.
smile, the eyes, everything. He just light skinned it. I swear to God. Google that shit.
So now you got a solo music group,
Solo piano group. We did.
group, yeah.
So I'm looking at getting into lo-fi, and that's where my challenge is as far as when I talk about producers and artists and stuff. It takes a long time to build lo-fi, and it's not always so artist driven. They don't tour. There's this guy, I think it's called French Kiwi Juice, who's kind of a lo-fi guy, and he tours and he's absolutely amazing. But he plays multiple instruments. But I like that vibe. I like it. You know, it's as you get older. You know, I love hip hop. I love jazz. I love I love music. But I also try to get into what I would like, what I listen to when I go to sleep at night. And lo-fi is it. Should I listen to Rain on YouTube? to go to sleep. So I actually on my solo piano group YouTube channel I have a Rain thing up there.
Who's like your early jazz influences growing up?
Jazz influences.
Like, what made you get into jazz like so
I
much?
mean, it was really jazz was just what Rodney did. So it wasn't so much I was
Okay.
in the jazz. It was just
You're just in it,
That's
like,
what
around it.
That's what my buddy did.
Dope.
So I was around it. And Stanley, I met through Rodney, Stanley and George Duke actually when they did the first Clark Duke project, and their big hit song was called Sweet Baby. And that's how I met Stanley, but I didn't actually start working with Stanley until more recently. We'd been friends for, since the 80s. And but just recently I started working with him, and so some projects, if he needs something and I can do it, I do it. But he's pretty more self-managed now. between him and his wife. And
he got a little podcast too, I think I seen.
Yeah, he did do a podcast. I think it was during the pandemic. He was doing some stuff. But when you're 50, 60 years in, you either choose to do it yourself, or you choose to have someone help you, or you have people help you when you need the help. He doesn't need someone to book his tours for him. Why?
It's already the system is in place.
Yeah, the system, he doesn't need a manager to negotiate those deals for him. He can do it himself. I help him when if he calls me and says, "Hey, I need help with something," then I do it. He's my friend.
So, Tino and I have recently been talking about buying a soccer team. Any chance we get you to come on, Coach?
Absolutely. You know that. Don't laugh.
No, I'm not laughing.
Because
I coached actual soccer with you. So,
so Johnny Guitar Watson's son is he worked for the Washington Nationals, and a couple years ago, because he travels all over the world recruiting baseball players, and about 2 or 3 years ago, he talked to me about investing in minor league soccer teams. So, you never know. We might be doing something again one day together as it relates to soccer.
Man, I think it would be incredible. I mean, from a hype standpoint, we'd be able to hype the soccer team. I know that much.
Yeah.
Y'all hiring refs.
Yeah. I don't know. We want to win. Organization needs to win.
Yeah, we do need to win. It was rough, but we had fun.
I mean, think about it. With soccer team, we have a stadium. We could do events as a venue on the side.
Absolutely.
Man, incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, any questions that you might have for us, or?
Oh man, not really.
Yeah, no. I mean, we just wanted to bring you in and talk just about you, man. I mean, that's
I appreciate being in the building, man.
Yeah, no, that's what this
appreciate
episode was about. It was about somebody who we believe, as they say in the industry, we want to give you your flowers now, because for us.
Yeah, create the West Coast sound, not great, but be part of it and give it to us, and we got to hear it.
I mean, we grew up on it. Yeah.
How about Egyptian Love? You ever did anything work with him?
I mean, I was around him. I didn't directly work with him.
Well,
we did. We did a West Coast. We did a distribution company. We all left Michell'le. It was Egypt. It was Crew Cut. It was Dream Team Records. I think Unknown DJ and somebody. I think it was 5 of us, and we did about $1 million in the first year.
Nice.
But sometimes young people and money, part of it was the way the system worked back then. You send records out, they're either going to send you the sub distributors either going to send you a check or send your records back. So what happened was, some of the companies sent too many records out, got a big check, took the check, and then when it was time for someone else to get paid, their records came back, but they didn't want to write the check back out, even though we were all partners. So, it got a little convoluted, but we did $1 million.
Is that a term that they call cross collateralization? Or
yeah, there's a lot of terms in there.
Man,
I don't want to get too deep into what was going on during that time.
Yeah, no.
But we did, but it was probably the first black distribution company, music distribution company, back then, and we did $1 million in the first year, and that was in the '80s. But we couldn't quite stay together. It's too bad that we couldn't quite stay together.
But you learned a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. Is every day is learning. For me.
Right. We're the same way. I mean, that's again, we tried to learn, a little bit about you ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. Guys did some good research. Stuff I've told. Like I said, I totally forgot about.
Good.
And then got a big surprise.
Yes, right,
right.
Yeah.
All right, everybody in the building.
It's all about soccer.
Mr. Atron Gregory, we appreciate you coming, man.
For sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Honor, brother.